Thanks very much for this opportunity, and great to hear also about all the previous speakers who've said very sensible things, and you always learn something new. We're really at a Cambrian explosion with the new technology and see so many new things develop, and it's just wonderful to be part of that. And now, talk about technology, and IBM being a technology company, I would like to take you to a place far away, in our minds of course, and long ago, halfway across the world, to the Kingdom of Yap. Anybody heard about the Kingdom of Yap? No? Yeah, somebody has, great. So the Kingdom of Yap is in Polynesia, Micronesia, and it's actually thousands of years ago, on one of the islands, the kingdom of various islands, and there is a stone quarry. And in that stone quarry, they created coins, really big donut-shaped coins, hole in it, and small ones, big ones, all unique. So if you wanted to buy something, you would either have a coin to trade, or you would make one, Genesis block of a stone, so to speak. And of course, moving big stones from island to island to get some cows and to get a piece of land sometimes causes problems. Sometimes these stones sank, right, between island A and B, and a lot of havoc emerged. And then, about 1,000 years ago, the wise people of these islands said, why are we moving these stones all the time? Why don't we just leave them where they are? We all know about these stones. We know their history and who owns what. And let's just do an open outcry system and all say, I've given this stone to Peters and for exchange of a piece of land, and it's the stone between island A and B, and let's just share that amongst all of us. So all of us here would then remember that, and that's the principle of a distributed ledger. If now I would try again to sell it, use that stone to buy something from Eva, 10 people in this here would say, no, you can't do that, because we know there was not a central body. So basically, blockchain is so simple that if you can't read, because it was in the prehistoric times, if you can't write, but if you want to keep tabs on each other, you basically build a blockchain. It's as simple as that. So fast forward to this day and age, and now we can do that globally. We can actually keep tabs globally, and that's where computer technology comes in, where Bitcoin has, of course, shown us how that works on computers, and distributed consensus make that possible. And it creates a very new way of dynamical working. Not only that you have distributed trust, but also incredible levels of efficiency. And that's really where corporates like IBM move in. Because, of course, we weren't waiting for another incredible change. We had a comfortable position anyway, how it is with centralized databases, etc. But this was a tsunami coming, and IBM embraced that change, just like 25 years ago there was the open standards movement, Linux, for instance, that came up. And that changed everything completely. Everybody used the same technology. So the way that, and it's for free, that's the most beautiful thing. You get wonderful world-class technology, and it is for free. So IBM started developing its own blockchain technology, but very soon we realized this is something that has to be shared by everybody. And actually the Linux Foundation was organizing the Hyperledger project. And the Hyperledger project has a part that's called Hyperledger Fabric, and that was kick-started by technology that IBM provided to the community. So Hyperledger Fabric is not a blockchain. It's a technology to build blockchains, like a Lego box, which you build blockchains. And interesting, I already heard Bitcoin mentioned, and Ethereum, and others. So the Hyperledger is what we call a permission blockchain. It's in that respect different that, whereas with Bitcoin you don't know who you're dealing with. You can see in the Bitcoin blockchain exactly that Bitcoins and Satoshis have moved from one place to the other. With the normal business, the more conventional logistics and other ecosystems that we know, you know who you're dealing with. Yeah? You know who you're buying your products from. You know who is ensuring your shipment, who is transporting it. But you don't know, if competitors also take part in that, and that's what you want, just like the internet is used by yourself, your competitors, your customers, etc. With blockchain, you want to do the same. You want to use a blockchain that is used by everybody in the ecosystem, not just by you and your customers, so also your competitors. So a permissioned blockchain embraces a consortium of partners that take part in that distributed ledger, and the data is then encrypted on the blockchain. So if I do a trade now again with Eva, all of you don't have to know exactly for what price I purchased something, but you know that it has happened. The same encrypted information, and that's what Hyperledger enables, is put on all our distributed ledgers, so everybody gets the same encrypted message. And the moment that either I or Eva has to share something about the transaction, for instance, because it needs to be insured or financed, you give part of the key to one of you, and you know immediately, with that key I can unlock that information is the same as everybody else has, so it's trusted. So this is a very different approach, but it's a very good approach that works very well and resonates very well, because if you have a consortium of partners, you can also create the right environment to, for instance, scale a blockchain or apply different forms of consensus. And the consensus that is required with these permissioned blockchains, such as with Hyperledger Fabric, don't require coins or mines. So the mining, a very cost-intensive process and a very energy-intensive process, is eliminated by using this sort of technology. Now, nothing against the others, there are horses for courses, but this is an approach that resonates very well in the business community. We've seen more than 400 projects now running just with IBM on Hyperledger, but everybody else can use it as well. It's open source, as I said, hosted by the Linux Foundation. Everybody can use it. I think some of the companies here are also using it already. And we see smaller but also very large projects. So give an example is that, for instance, just recently, again in Polynesia, which is quite nice, it's like the circle is round, on Sideboss 2 days ago was announced that ClickX and Stellar, actually an cryptocurrency, together with IBM using Hyperledger Fabric, are doing a payment system, a global payment system involving central banks to very efficiently make it possible to exchange currencies at this moment in that area of the Pacific, but it is in principle possible to do that worldwide. Another very exciting project is food safety, and that is really something that involves all of us. Food is something that is important for all 7 billion people on this planet. And how often does it happen? Thousands of times per year that there has to be a recall. And recalls are extremely broad, because you often don't know exactly what the problem is. So an authority will say, it happened in Europe recently, for instance in the Netherlands, that the authorities said, don't eat eggs for the moment because of the fipronil scare. And if you had known exactly which batch was contaminated and isolated it, and within seconds knew where that contamination happened, it would have been possible to just isolate that, deal with it very fast, and everybody knew where they stood. So that is innovation that is great, and we're doing that with big global partners at this moment. And so this is a project that involves all of us. So blockchain, as said before, should be in all sorts of ways of working, and it should be a guarantee for trust, safety, transparency, and that's what it should bring. So you already mentioned, Danny, developments that are happening in the Netherlands also with government. So it's that's right. The National Blockchain Coalition is, I think, something wonderful initiative, very similar to the Blockchain Observatory that's being done by the European Union. But a nice example is, for instance, that the Vehicle Authority in the Netherlands is doing a project with Hyperledger with us at the moment, and it has proven that the dealing with a vehicle, the claim of a stolen vehicle, for instance, I want to prevent it in the first place, but when it's happened, dealing with the claim of a stolen vehicle can be done in a matter of seconds, watertight, instead of a long protracted process where police is involved, and insurance companies, and the user, and the vehicle authority. That is all done on a blockchain and goes in seconds. So this shows how authorities are already seeing the major change. And wouldn't it be wonderful if the 27 or 28, I don't know, Malcolm, what we should say, states of the European Union, instead of creating a new agency that makes all the agencies in the European Union work together, would instead not create a new body that would be either located in Lisbon or Vienna or Amsterdam, but straight away the dealings that are being made between the national agencies would be coded onto a blockchain. The already existing infrastructures that all these countries and agencies have would be used to use the smart contracts and run them on these blockchain, and then have work done as it should be done in the country itself, every country remaining in control of the data, not handing it over to a centralized body. That is a dream that is becoming a reality, and these sort of events very much make that happen. So thank you very much for being here. I will keep it short. There will be more discussion, and thanks for this opportunity. Thank you.